Namaste Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. So we are on chapters 2 and 3. Starting these chapters, until now, we've done an overview of devotional service called Samanya Bhakti. We talked about the definition of pure devotional service, the characteristics of pure devotional service, and now we start with Sadhana Bhakti. The three categories of devotional service are described with particular emphasis on Sadhana Bhakti. One's eligibility for practicing Sadhana Bhakti is attraction to pleasing Krishna. And the most important part of this process is to always remember Krishna and never forget him. Chapters 2 to 5 are about the prerequisites for taking up bhakti. In chapter 2, the logical flow of topics is as follows. Sadhana bhakti is a practice to awaken dormant love for Krishna, bhava and prema. Sadhana bhakti can be inspired by scripture and guru, vaidhi, or natural attraction, raga. One's eligibility for sadhana bhakti in general is having a taste or attraction for Krishna. The basic principle of sadhana bhakti is to always remember Krishna and never forget him, which is best accomplished by hearing and chanting about Krishna. Any person can remember Krishna in any occupation or stage of life by offering one's activities to Krishna and molding one's life to help one remember him. So this is the natural flow of the topics. So in any varna and any ashrama, any occupation or any stage of life, one can offer one's activities to Krishna. So sadhana bhakti is available to all varnas and all ashramas so that we can remember him. There's something here. There's a way to hide this bar. I'm trying to figure it out on top. Keeps coming in there. So there are three stages of pure devotional service. Sadhana, which is practice, regulated and spontaneous. There's two parts to sadhana. So sadhana means practice, but practice can be regulated and spontaneous. In the initial stage, it's regulated. In later stages, it's spontaneous. Then bhava is the next stage. Bhava is the dawn of perfection. And then the final and best stage is prema, which is complete perfection. So the three stages, sadhana, bhava, and prema. So chapters 2 through 16, that is most of the Eastern wave, is sadhana. And that is regulated practice of devotional service. And then there's bhava, and then there's prema. Chronology in the development of the 6 characteristics of pure devotional service as discussed in chapter 1. So there's a chronology of devotional service, 6 characteristics of pure devotional service is already been discussed. And the first 2 characteristics you might remember of pure devotional service is sadhana. And remember, both in the regulated and spontaneous stage, the first 2 are there, which is relief from all distress, and 2, all auspiciousness. So who remembers what was the Sanskrit word for these 2?
Kleshagni and Subhada, I think.
Yes, very good. Kleshagni and Shubhada. So, yes. And then in the Bhava stage, 4 of them are there. Kleshagni, Shubhada, and someone else can mention 3 and 4. Anyone? I'll tell it. It's 3 is Moksha Lagutakrit, and 4 is Sudurlabha. So 3 is happiness deriding liberation, and 4 is Sudurlabha, very difficult to attain, very rare. And the final stage is Prema, perfection, which is all 6. And these last 2, and you remember these last 2? Anyone?
I think the last one is Krishna Karshani. Krishna
Yes.
Karshani, I think.
Yes. Sandhyananda Visheshatma is number 5, and number 6 is Sri Krishna Karshani. So this is right here. Sorry, the fonts, I don't know, they get messed up. Yes, I apologize, but this is Kleshagni, Shubhata, Moksha Lagutakrit, Sudurlabha, Sandhyananda Visheshatma, and Sri Krishna Karshani. So chapters 2 through 16 describe sadhana bhakti, or the practice of devotional service, which is divided into 2 parts. The first part is called service according to the regulated principles. One has to follow these different regulated principles by the order of the spiritual master or on the strength of authoritative scriptures, and there can be no question of refusal, Prabhupada says. That is called Vaidhi, or regulated. So we follow very rigidly, very devoutly the regulated principles given by the spiritual master, and there's no question for refusal, because we must follow these. The 4 regulated principles, for example, there's no question that, well, today I'll go and have a hamburger. No, and similarly, the chanting of our 16 rounds. We must perform that every single day. There's no question of refusal. And it's a regulated principle. It's done out of a matter of duty and by the order of the spiritual master and the scriptures. Another part of sadhana bhakti is called raganuga. Raganuga refers to the point at which, by following the regulated principles, one becomes a little more attached to Krishna and executes devotional service out of natural love. So as we follow these regulated principles, we get a natural distaste for eating meat, drinking alcohol, the whole material thing. And we develop an attraction for Krishna. Similarly, we develop an attraction to chanting, that I haven't chanted my rounds. I just want to sit and chant. So that is natural attraction for Krishna. The eligibility for sadhana bhakti is attraction to pleasing Krishna is the only requirement for beginning to practice pure devotional service. Right? So in this chapter also, he talks about eligibility. Who is eligible? Who is eligible to start this process of sadhana bhakti? Just one who is attracted. Just the person who has the attraction. That person is eligible to practice pure devotional service, sadhana bhakti. This attraction results from devotional service performed in previous lifetimes. Ultimately, it comes from the mercy of a pure devotee. So, the eligibility is the attraction to pleasing Krishna. And that eligibility comes, even that attraction comes by the mercy of a pure devotee. So the only requirement is attraction. There's nothing else we need. And even that requirement is not really something that, we have to go to the gym for or whatnot. It's the mercy of a pure devotee. We need to be in touch with the devotee. So we see how all of bhakti or devotional service comes from the mercy of a devotee. And that mercy turns into an attraction because the devotee is attractive, so Krishna consciousness becomes attractive for us. The devotee is attractive, so we become attracted to being Krishna conscious. And that attraction manifests and leads to the practice of pure devotional service. Sadhana is a systematic practice executed with the mind and senses that reawakens the ecstatic love of Godhead lying dormant within the heart. Sadhana does not exactly create love of Godhead, rather, it revives the love of Godhead dormant in the heart. As a dormant seed does not grow without sunlight, the seed of love of God cannot grow without receiving. The seed of love of God cannot grow without receiving the Lord's mercy. Sadhana is a systematic process for purifying the heart and attracting the Lord's mercy to descend and revive one's dormant love of God. Can you all hear background noise or no? It's okay. Okay. So sadhana is a systematic process for purifying the heart and attracting the Lord's mercy to descend and revive one's dormant love of God. So wonderful, isn't it? That sadhana creates this love of God just by doing our sadhana very nicely. What a great blessing this sadhana is. That's why in our movement, actually, right now, sadhana is sort of underrated. There's less of a focus on sadhana. If we see Prabhupada's time and just even 10 years ago, devotees were, like the temples, the devotees, the communities, their sadhana, the morning program was what life revolved around. And if someone missed it, people would be calling them up, like, oh, you weren't there. Is everything okay? And now it's like if you talk about sadhana too much, people are like, oh, this person is really fanatical. This person, doesn't have much to do, and he's, but sadhana is, the basis of all of our bhakti is our bhajan, and the bhajan is sadhana. Srila Prabhupada gives two analogies to explain that sadhana does not create something new, but revives something intrinsic to the living entity. These are the two analogies that he gives: the child learning to walk. The mother doesn't exactly teach the child how to walk, but rather she revives the child's memory of how to walk. Then the mother doesn't force the child to walk or tell. The child wants to walk. They're always like getting up, falling down. But the mother's just helping the process, reviving what is already there. And the second example is the patient recovering health. It's not that the doctor or the nurse gives the patient health, but the health is given by the body. The body cures itself, but the nurse and doctor takes care of the patient so that the health is revived. Krishna consciousness cannot be aroused simply by practice. Actually, there's no such practice. When we wish to develop our innate capacity for devotional service, there are certain processes by which our accepting and executing them will cause that dormant capacity to be invoked. Such practice is called sadhana bhakti. Sadhana is the process of reviving our love of Godhead. The most important part of this process is to always remember the Lord and never forget him. My dear king, one has to fix his mind on Krishna by any means. So the most important part of sadhana is reviving our love of Godhead, right? And we think of sadhana as rules and regulations and rituals, but no, it's to revive our love of Godhead. And the most important part is always remember Krishna and never forget him, which we revisit later on also among all the 64 angas. This is the most important one. My dear king, one has to fix his mind on Krishna by any means. It is the duty of the Acharya, the spiritual master, to find the ways and means for his disciple to fix his mind on Krishna. That is the beginning of sadhana bhakti. So Prabhupada gave us this process because it's the best way, the most effective way to fix our mind on Krishna. Every part of the morning program is designed in such a way that we develop bhava. The sadhana is there. What is the purpose of sadhana? The purpose of sadhana is to reach bhava, right? Sadhana leads to bhava. So it's to evoke bhava. And that's why you see in our morning program, the songs that we sing, the Sansaradava prayers, those Sansaradava prayers, they are, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, anyone who recites these daily gets bhava. Similarly, our Tulsi Puja prayers, Mora e Abhilash, Bilash Kunja Diovash, right? They're also very important. One second. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us an authorized program for this purpose, centered around the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. This chanting has so much power that it immediately attaches one to Krishna. That is the beginning of sadhana bhakti. Some or other one has to fix his mind on Krishna. So this is such a beautiful painting. I was just looking at this painting. And all these elements of sadhana, they revolve around the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. This chanting has so much power that it immediately attaches one to Krishna. That is the beginning of sadhana bhakti. Some or other one has to fix his mind. So why do we chant? Why do we do sadhana bhakti? Is to fix the mind upon Krishna, attach our mind to Krishna. Chanting has the power that it attracts us to Krishna, especially Sankirtan. It very quickly, when we do as congregational chanting of Krishna's holy names, people immediately become absorbed, entranced by the beautiful chanting. That is the beginning of sadhana bhakti. Some are other. So therefore, everything, the core of sadhana bhakti is chanting. All the different parts of our morning program, for example, are meant to encourage chanting. The Mangalarti, the majority of that part is the chanting of Krishna's holy names. Praying to the spiritual master, offering respects to Tulsi. Tulsi Maharani is such an important place in our tradition that Krishna does not accept anything without Tulsi. Right? This is why we offer Tulsi leaf in every meal. When we chant, we're touching Tulsi. We're sitting in front of Tulsi. And then even our body, the service that we render, Krishna only accepts the service of our body when we have the Tulsi touching our neck. This is why we have Tulsi beads. Why the Tulsi beads are there? Because even the body should have Tulsi on it, so Krishna accepts it. In the same way, our forehead, the tilak, it has a Tulsi marking. So, so all of these activities inspire raga and eventually prema. And this is why the spiritual master gives these practices. When the inspiration for practicing devotional service comes from the scriptures and the orders of the spiritual master, one engages in Vaidhi sadhana, or regulated practice. When the inspiration for practicing devotional service comes from a natural attraction to pleasing Krishna, one engages in Raganuga sadhana, or spontaneous practice. So why are Vaidhi sadhana and Raganuga sadhana categorized under the same umbrella of sadhana? Right? Why are Vaidhi and Raganuga categorized under the same umbrella? They're two separate things, right? One is regulated practice, the other is spontaneous practice. The reason is explained here because the activity is exactly the same, right? The sadhana is the same. Both the Vaidhi sadhaka and the Raganuga sadhaka are chanting 16 rounds a day. They're offering worship to Tulsi. They're reading Srila Prabhupada's books. They're serving Vaishnavas. But what's the difference between the two? They're doing exactly the same thing. It's from where the inspiration comes. The difference is the motivation. That Vaidhi sadhana is motivated by the instruction or order of the spiritual master. Raganuga is also in line with the order of the scriptures and spiritual master, but the inspiration is coming from a genuine and innate attraction to Krishna. One's developed that attraction to Krishna, so one is doing it because one wants to. There's no you could say order that is, you could say forcing the intelligence. Rather, the intelligence is being drawn to Krishna, and this is what Queen Kunti prays for. Right? Standing in our shoes, speaking as though she's one of us. She says, Gange Vogham Udanmati. That let my mind be attracted to you, Krishna. Let my mind flow to you like the rivers flow to the ocean. So, Raganuga sadhana is the real sadhana. It's a real thing because it's the mind flowing towards Krishna. Always remember Krishna and never forget him. All the rules and prohibitions mentioned in the Shastra are servants of these two principles, Rupa Goswami says. Right? So this is the very important point. He makes this so many times in the Nectar devotion that it's always remember Krishna and never forget him.
Hare
Always
Krishna
remember Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Huh? Sorry?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Quick question. So, Raganuga Bhakti is not something that we can develop, right? It gets developed on its own, right? Is my understanding correct?
No, our practice itself is developing Raganuga Bhakti. So, in other words, our doing Vaidhi sadhana is leading to Raganuga. Of course, it requires the mercy of Krishna. So in that way, our effort is inviting the mercy of the Lord, and it's the mercy of the Lord that's making it happen, and the mercy of the devotee. But our effort is what helps inspire the mercy of Krishna. So our preparation for Raganuga is Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. The Vaidhi is the rigid practice. Prabhupada says when we perfectly practice the regulated principles, then that regulated practice turns into Raganuga. So once we reach the stage of Nishtha, which means unshakable, we're unshaking in our practices, then we automatically, it becomes spontaneous because we regulate it. It becomes so attractive. Just like when I go to Mangalarti but miss days, then I go because it's my duty and it's hard and it's an effort. But when I go every single day, then there's a natural attraction. Then you don't want to miss a day, right? So proper practice, very careful practice of Vaidhi sadhana very quickly becomes Raganuga. And generally, Raganuga is the careful practice because you are only able to do it because you have some attraction for it. So, yeah. So that's the natural progression. Now, always remember Krishna. If this injunction is followed, then all other rules and regulations will automatically fall into line. Actually, this is the answer to your question. All other rules and regulations should be treated as assistants or servants to this one basic principle. So if you have spontaneous attraction, you'll do the rules and regulations because you are attracted to going to Mangalarti, you'll go every single day. And conversely, and similarly, if you're going every day, you must have some attraction. You will very quickly develop some attraction because otherwise you won't be able to sustain it. Always remember Krishna and never forget him. This regulated principle is applicable to all varnas and ashramas, the castes and occupations of life. There are 4 varnas, namely the brahmanas, the priests and intellectuals, the kshatriyas, the warriors and statesmen, the vaishyas, the businessmen and farmers, and the shudras, the laborers and servants. There are also 4 standard ashramas, namely brahmachari, student life, grihastha, householder, vanaprastha, retired, and sannyasa, renounced. Srila Prabhupada describes the varnas and ashramas and how persons in each can always remember Krishna and never forget him. So Prabhupada actually in this chapter talks quite a bit about varnashram because varnashram is so important for the development of sadhana, of Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. Because Vaidhi sadhana, the regulated service to the Lord, doesn't just mean our morning program. We call that sadhana because in ISKCON that's what we call sadhana. But regulated devotional service also means that if you are a businessman, you're building a temple. Why? Why is that regulated devotional service? Because that instruction is being given by the spiritual master. That activity is being inspired by the instruction of the spiritual master and the scriptures. And you're taking great pains and regularly overseeing the construction of the temple. You're taking great pains in going out and distributing Srila Prabhupada's books. This is why Vaisheshika Prabhu, he calls book distribution high sadhana. High sadhana. Because it's actually sadhana. People think, oh, that's preaching, that's not sadhana. But how is that not sadhana? It's the instruction of the spiritual master, and the disciple is trying to fulfill it. We don't want to go out. It's cold, it's freezing, it's snowing, it's embarrassing. How can I ask people for money? But we're doing it because the spiritual master said so. So what is that? That is Vaidhi sadhana. Then after a while, devotees, they go out for book distribution and they start loving it. It's like, this is the best time in the week for me. Like, honestly, when we go to out, and I love street Sankirtan. There's other Sankirtan is a little like, taxing for me, but just going on the street or in front of a shop or Patel Brothers and distributing books, it's so nice because it's such a sweet reciprocation. And when someone, people take books and like it's a special connection. It's so magical. It's so satisfying. So we have so much, you have your work and your family. So it's so hard to find time to go. But when I would find time to go, is like the best time of my week. And then I would want to go. Like I'd find some way like, okay, my family's busy now or they're out somewhere, I can go off and do some book distribution. Because one wants to do it, right? One starts to realize this is like the best time of my week. This is so blissful. There's nothing else so blissful than this. So that is also sadhana, but that's Vaidhi sadhana turning into Raganuga sadhana. The regulated service, we get an attraction for it. Similarly, cooking for Krishna. That's actually a good example. We can cook for Krishna. And when we cook for Krishna, then when we cook for Krishna, then initially it's regulated. But after a while, we love cooking for Krishna. We love cooking for the devotees. And when we're good at it, we just want to do it. And similarly, singing for Krishna, kirtan, right? So every devotional activity, according to our varna and ashrama, according to our occupation and according to our stage in life, when done for Krishna, is sadhana bhakti. But when it becomes spontaneous, then varnashram becomes less important, because then whatever Krishna wants, we'll be happy to do for Krishna. Krishna wants me to clean the toilet. It's ecstatic because I love serving Krishna. On the stage of sadhana, the service is important for us. What matters to us most is what service do I have? And we identify our relationship with Krishna based upon our service. This is my service. Don't take away my service. As we advance, it's not the service, but it's being a servant that matters. Service, whatever service. I'll go to China for you, as Tamal Krishna Maharaj did for Srila Prabhupada. I'll go to Russia for you, as His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj did, even though it was the Iron Curtain and one had to risk their life. But I'm attached to being a servant. Whatever service you give, it's fine. So that's spontaneous level. That's bhava, raganuga, bhava, higher and higher. Bhava is not some, emotional ecstatic stage that, today my hairs were standing on end. Bhava is the eagerness, the attachment for doing anything for Krishna. That's ecstasy. That whatever I'm doing for Krishna, I get immense joy. I get such taste in doing that service for Krishna. That is the stage of bhava. A Brahmana who is born out of the head of the Lord has as his business to preach the transcendental Vedic sounds, or Shabda Brahman. So Prabhupada wanted all of us to become Brahmanas. And therefore, it's our duty to share this wisdom with everyone. The Kshatriya has to protect people from the onslaughts of Maya. So Kshatriya will serve the Lord by removing the bad forces and establishing righteousness. So also they're sharing, but they're doing it not just by speaking, but by good administration. Good administration by protecting the citizens, by protecting the society, by serving the people, by giving them protection. The Vaishyas are meant for producing agricultural products, trading them and distributing them. So beautiful. Huh? So they become so prosperous by doing that. And therefore we have farm communities, and through their trade, through their business, they're serving the Lord. Not just farm communities, but through their business, they're building temples. Through their trades, they're serving devotees, which is sometimes even more special. It is more special than serving the Lord. Everyone wants to serve the Lord, but serving the devotees of the Lord is more valuable, is more special than serving the Lord. And through their business, they're serving the Lord. Just like there's one doctor here in town and dentist, and he treats senior devotees for free. He takes care of their toothaches for free. Of course, I won't give the name of the doctor because people may take advantage, but to the senior disciples of Srila Prabhupada and other senior devotees who are not working, now retired, he does all their dental work for free. Similarly, there's business people who have a printing shop and they print all the flyers and posters for the temple at very reduced prices. Or a construction company. If a devotee had a construction company, they'd be so busy. Temples spend so much money on construction, and they have to hire these people who overcharge and this, that. There's such a need of tradespersons and construction companies to build temples and maintain temples in our movement. All of this is sadhana. It is the Vaishya sadhana. And the Shudras are meant to help these higher classes. Right? So who does the actual work? The business is there, the company is there, but the person who's actually the craftsperson, the carpenter, the arts person, they are helping. And they are serving Krishna. Their sadhana is making wonderful pieces of art for Krishna. Just like we see the Palace of Gold in New Vrindavan. Such a beautiful offering. Srimad Bhagavatam, 27th chapter, verse 49. My dear Uddhava, all persons are engaged in activities, whether those indicated in the revealed scriptures or ordinary worldly activities. If by the result of either of such activities they worship me in Krishna consciousness, then automatically they become very happy within this world, as well as in the next. Of this, there is no doubt. See Krishna, such a nice verse. If by the result of either of such activities they worship me in Krishna consciousness, what are these either? Um, Whether they're doing activities revealed in the scriptures or ordinary worldly activities. But either of these activities, if they're able to worship me, or that is serve me, then their life is successful. So a policeman, how can a policeman serve the Lord? Well, every Sunday, there's a huge crowd of devotees that comes, and there's a need for security now. So many shootings happening, this and there. A policeman can offer their policeman services to the Lord, and the Lord becomes very pleased. Sometimes we think in Krishna consciousness that serving the Lord means that every Sunday I must go and wash pots at the Sunday feast. Yes, that is needed. However, sometimes the even greater service is utilizing our skills in the service of the Lord and offering those skills in the service of the Lord. Just like I knew one devotee, and he's an accountant, and temples need accountants, right? Like there's all this, they have to do this tax stuff, and it's just to run an institution, you need your bank in order, you need to do those things. So he was a very devout devotee, and he would come every Sunday and mop the floors and serve out the prasad and wash the dishes and dust the walls. And then one time devotees found out that, oh, this person is a CA, a CPA, and they said, we really need help with the temple finances. And when it was requested with that, then he said, oh, no, I can't do that. That will be too much for me, and I don't have the time, and I don't want to do that. It'll be mixing my business with service, and I won't know how much to charge you. And so the mood is nice. I mean, the mood is there that that I want to do humble service for Krishna. But the point is that but Krishna becomes especially pleased when we offer our skills in his service. The CPA service, CPA work, that's $100, $200 an hour, $100 an hour. He was a very, top level, CPA person, and getting a lawyer to do the same work was so expensive. Not offering that service is keeping back, right? Our ordinary worldly activities should also be offered to the Lord. If we're an IT person, we can make a website. We all want to do the easy work for Krishna, but what about doing the difficult work for Krishna? What about chasing the rhino, right? Shama Sundar Prabhu, he told us that how Prabhupada wanted us to chase the rhino, that Prabhupada wanted his disciples to do big things, make big goals, and do big things, because that furthers the Krishna consciousness movement. However, he said that there's another very important reason, an even more important reason why he wanted devotees to chase the rhino, that is, do big things for Krishna. Anyone want to guess? The reason I mention is because that furthers the Krishna consciousness movement, right? If you make Donald Trump into a devotee, which good luck, but if you do, that'll further the movement, right? So that's like chasing the rhino. However, in addition to furthering the movement, what does chasing the rhino do?
It stretches us up trying to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhu. Who is this who spoke?
This is Rajeshan.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Yes. Yes. It makes us Krishna conscious. Right? In chasing the rhino, we become Krishna conscious. Prabhupada said that you will become Krishna conscious. And this is why his disciples and Srila Prabhupada and his disciples carried that legacy. They were doing such big things for Srila Prabhupada. Because that sadhana bhakti, then our mind becomes absorbed. That anxiety is good for us. People say, oh, this is too much anxiety. Like I had to cut down my service, make it really simple. I'm just now doing one artik a week because I'm a humble devotee, keep it simple. Maybe not so humble, because when we take the anxiety for material things, we take anxiety, right? When we take anxiety for Krishna, that's what purifies our mind and our body. Like devotees say, I fried myself out. We don't want to do that, but even if that happens, it's a good thing, because unless we fry our bodies in the service of Krishna, how will that body become purified? We should be so busy in Krishna consciousness that there's no time for Maya to come in. Of course, we don't want to bloop and burn ourselves out, but that's the principle, that we don't have a moment. And that's what Rupa Goswami was just saying. Always remember Krishna, never forget him. But how is that possible? Arjuna says, Chanchalahi mana Krishna. Krishna, I can't even control this mind for 1 minute. So how is it possible? Rupa Goswami is saying, always remember Krishna, never forget him. He's telling us to do something which is impractical, undoable. Well, it's possible, and it's only possible when we keep ourselves so busy in Krishna consciousness that our mind has no time to go elsewhere. And that's the stage of samadhi. And that's actually a very transcendental, very transcendent stage. I had the good fortune of once in a while traveling with His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. And once or twice I actually noticed that he, as you all know, you may know, he worked very hard for Krishna. Like he was managing over the course of some years, he managed 250 projects, 255 projects. And there'll be so much work, so many meetings, so many phone calls, traveling from one day to another place in the next day, like every day, changing beds, changing cities, going on flights. And once in a while, I noticed that there would be foam coming out of his mouth. Like in the Bhagavatam, it describes that the materialist works so hard. When you work so hard, then foam comes out of your mouth. So he was working so hard for Krishna that I actually noticed, like I observed, that foam would come out of his mouth. He was stretching himself so much. When he would wake up in the morning after like sleeping 3 hours, he wouldn't even take an afternoon nap sometimes. This was like the earlier years. Then his legs would shake out of exhaustion after he would wake up from sleep. Because after 3 hours, he was pushing himself to wake up. Sometimes while giving Bhagavatam class, Maharaj would doze off for a minute. He was working that hard. So I said, well, what is the need? There's so many more devotees. There's 10,000 years, the movement will be here. Because in chasing the rhino, he was showing the example that one's own mind then always remembers Krishna and never forgets Krishna. And that is the result when we perform all of our activities for Krishna. Those that are revealed in the scriptures, meaning our sadhana bhakti. So he was perfect in his sadhana. There's never a day when Maharaj didn't wake up in the morning. If he didn't, we would be running to his room because something must be seriously wrong if he didn't. So he was doing his sadhana, the revealed activities, the activities enjoined in the scriptures. And he was doing the management work, the kind of the duties during the day, which are not specified in the scriptures, but are given by the spiritual master. This is this is the work that you're doing for Krishna, and doing that all day. So that is always remembering Krishna and never forgetting him. The Krishna consciousness movement is so nice that there's no need of even designating oneself Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, or Sannyasi. Here it is. So, and it's funny, just yesterday, I was talking about this with one senior devotee, and they're saying, Varnashram is nice, but the way it was with Srila Prabhupada and the way I grew up in my Krishna consciousness, they're saying, is that you just do whatever is needed to be done for Krishna. Like, we would be asked to do something, we would do it. We wouldn't say, well, is this my Varna? Is this my ashrama? Is this my nature? Is this that? Prabhupada asked us to do something, we would just do it. And this devotee, he's a very senior, he's Prabhupada disciple, performing very big service for Srila Prabhupada. And this was their practical realization. Very, very important realization. So the Krishna consciousness movement is so nice that there's no need of even designating oneself Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, or Sannyasi. Let everyone be engaged in whatever occupation he now has. Simply let him worship Lord Krishna by the result of his activities in Krishna consciousness. Simply let him worship Lord Krishna by the result of his activities. That will adjust the whole situation, and everyone will be happy and peaceful within this world. Prabhupada is so amazing. The whole world situation will be adjusted. And that is the end of chapter 2. Perfect timing. So are there any questions or comments, corrections? We could have done another chapter, but for those of you on the East Coast, it's 9 o'clock now, so it's good to end. So we'll just take a few minutes of discussion, comments, questions.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu. So is it possible or even important for us to know in which stage we are in? Like, do we ever have to contemplate upon if we are in the sadhana stage or bhava stage? I mean, I guess prema stage is not going to happen, but
No, I mean, we will know. We will know. So, I mean, most of us, for myself, we're at the Vaidhi sadhana stage because we're doing it out of the intelligence, out of, engaging our intelligence is telling us, we should do this. I should wake up in the morning. I should chant my rounds. I shouldn't go and eat that chocolate ice cream with eggs in it. But we have an attraction to these material things. The attraction for loving Krishna is not there. Raganuga is actually a pretty high stage. One starts to realize one's eternal swarupa with Krishna. So, what's my internal position? So when we're on the stage of Raganuga, we will know that. However, just because we're on Vaidhi sadhana, it doesn't mean that we will not have glimpses of Raganuga, right? So the example that I gave you of like devotees jumping up to go for the Mangalarti because it's so nice, or loving going on book distribution. These are glimpses of Raganuga. They may even be glimpses of bhava. Rupa Goswami mentions this, that even a neophyte can experience shadow bhava, chaya bhava, where they're not on the stage of bhav, but they get a glimmer of it due to the causeless mercy of Krishna and his devotee. And this is why we join Krishna consciousness. And I sometimes wonder myself, like, why are these new people becoming so enthusiastic about Krishna consciousness? Why are they becoming so enthusiastic? I think, like, are they crazy? Are they mad? And then I remember, oh, no. That's because they're experiencing some chaya bhav. They experience some ecstasy. And that ecstasy is driving them towards that. Yes.
thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice. Yes, nice point. Salja Mataji?
I'm sorry, I was with my audio
Yes.
off. Sorry.
Okay.
Haribol Prabhu, thank you
Hare
very
Krishna.
much. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
I can only see your forehead.
Oh, sorry. There you go.
Perfect.
The angle of the laptop.
Yes.
Yeah. Prabhu, I had a question on your last slide. I think it got me, especially with your different varnas. And it mentions, let everyone be engaged in whatever occupation he or she has, I assume. I assume that those are material occupations, right?
Yes.
And is it saying don't worry and don't hanker about what you're doing and just kind of focus on Krishna consciousness? Is that what's really that's communicating?
It's saying that whatever you're doing, it offer it to Krishna. So one
Offer it.
occupation, yeah. One occupation is being a mother or a father, like a parent, right? So it's saying in whatever occupation, you can be a mother and be busy all day with children, changing diapers, this, that, and be fully Krishna conscious. If we dovetail that activity in Krishna service, we're doing it as a service to Krishna. We're trying to make our children into devotees. We're hearing kirtan as we, change their diapers. All these things. That's doing that. Or being a lawyer, right? One can do that for Krishna by offering the results of one's wealth to Krishna, or protecting the temple by making sure it's on sound legal ground. Similarly, being a politician, Tulsi Gabbard. As I mentioned that, one can try to engage that in Krishna service. So yeah, any activity can be engaged in Krishna service. That's what that's saying here. Any mode of work. Of course, certain modes of work, unless they are very sinful. So like, being a butcher, you can't do that for Krishna. So certain modes of work may be very sinful because they're not part of Varnashram. They're just sinful life. But any activity within Varnashram, that can be engaged in Krishna service.
Got it. And sometimes, but there are certain activities where you find it difficult to find that connection. But I guess what this line is still saying is continue to do, but keep Krishna in your mind. And
yes.
Okay, yeah, no, this was very helpful. I see the two distinctions. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Nice question. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Haripriya, we are ready for your summary.
Yes, Prabhu. So, I have some points for today. So, my first point is that we can see that there are three stages of bhakti. That there are three stages of bhakti. Sadhana bhakti, which is the practice, regulated and spontaneous. And the second one is the bhava bhakti, which is the dawn of perfection. And the third is the prema bhakti, which is the complete perfection. And then my next point is that we can see that the eligibility of devotional service. So the three eligibilities of devotional service, which are attracted to Krishna, devotional service performed in previous births, and mercy of a pure devotee. And then my next point was that the sadhana. So sadhana is a systematic practice which awakens the dormant love of Godhead. Two analogies are given. So patient recovering health, the patient is recovering. So, and the child is learning to walk. The child is learning his memory of how to walk. So his mother is simply helping him, like how to, if he falls, or she's just there for a backup. And then my next point is that always remember Krishna, never forget him. And this statement is applicable to all Varnas, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and the ashramas, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Brahmachari, and Sanya. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you always for that very nice summary and reminding us of all the key points. I just wanted to mention that I will post the chapter 2 homework. Thank you again for being so flexible, everyone. And I apologize for all this change, but next time, hopefully we'll be back to our regular schedule. And actually next Saturday, it's Thanksgiving weekend. So maybe I'll try to do 2 chapters. We can do a little bit more to make up for the week that we missed. Let's see. So look forward to your association next week. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Thank you
Prabhuji.
so much,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Thank you so
Dhanyawad.
much, Prabhu Danvapana.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you for the
Hare
class.
Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhu.
Bhaiya, Atul
Hare
Bhaiya.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.